Yes, sir. Good to go. We can start.
Just give me 1 minute.
Yep.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Just
Good
let
evening,
me
sir.
start the new board. And first of all, I will start benefit of cloud computing. We were talking about last time why AWS is required. So today we have to start the benefit of cloud computing. Just give me 1 sec. Here we go. I think my screen is visible to everyone. Thanks, everyone. So guys, today we see the number of cloud computing platforms are available. For example, AWS, Google Cloud, MS Azure. So this way, we have multiple cloud platforms, and all these are public cloud platforms. But AWS, Google Cloud, and MS Azure, these are some very popular cloud platforms. So small, medium, and even large business houses find some significant benefits to switch on cloud because of its less cost and high availability and easy deployment of services. Remember, the cloud computing is not a single piece of technology. It's a little complex, right? So in cloud platform, you can find platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, software as a service. So generally, these days on these cloud platforms, you are finding almost all sort of services, and hence we can't limit its benefit. So in coming, basically now I'm just going to explain the different kind of cloud computing. As I told you, so every cloud platform is a combination of software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. And not only this, you can find the services for machine learning, for artificial intelligence, for IoT. Means you almost find everything in these popular cloud platform like Azure, AWS, and GCP. AWS is the biggest one in terms of AWS global infrastructure and in terms of services and in terms of their means presence all over the world. And according to one survey conducted by a consultant firm, Forrester is a company in America. They usually do the kind of a surveys, and according to one survey, it is estimated that by the end of this year, if everything goes okay, because for last couple of means years we were struggling with corona, but if everything goes okay, by the end of this year, means at the end of 2022, the cloud computing market can touch more than $200 billion. This is not a small figure, this is a big figure, right? This is a big figure, and big player of cloud computing like Amazon, Intel, Microsoft, HP, Alibaba, these are some names I'm telling you. So these are also providing cloud computing services, and these are making huge investment in cloud computing. So AWS is a public cloud computing platform and based on pay-as-you-go pricing model. Okay, now I need to just emphasize their the benefits. So what benefits generally we see in these cloud platforms? So first of all, I will start with flexibility. So cloud computing is the best for businesses, no doubt, where you see a regular change in resource requirement or fluctuating bandwidth of demand, because the demand is never be consistent. Sometimes you have number of projects, sometimes you have less projects, sometimes you need a more servers, sometimes you need a less infrastructure, and accordingly the resources can be scaled up or scaled down in cloud computing. And to scale down or scale up to meet the requirement, it's a matter of few seconds or few minutes with cloud administrative knowledge. Means you must have a cloud administrative knowledge. If you know about how to handle it, how to manage it. So in a few minutes or in a few seconds, you can scale up or scale down infrastructure you're working with. In addition, AWS enables you to select the resources of your choice. For example, what's the best thing? You can select any operating system for your virtual machine. You can select Windows Server. You can select any flavor of Linux. You can also select these days Mac operating system. You can select any programming language. We have a long list of programming languages. These days we are working. Our developers are working like Java, Node.js, Python, Go, Ruby, right? So all these languages are supportable. So all these are languages are supporting to these platforms. You can choose any database. Database also is a very big field. So in database, we have SQL database, we have no SQL database, we have in-memory caching service. So many other database services we have. So all these cloud platforms are supporting multiple database services. So you can pick any database service as per your project need. And you can choose any web application platform. So this is a combination of operating systems, programming languages, database, and web application platforms. So you are completely free to choose any combination of these. So that's why we are saying it's a flexible. You have no restrictions. You have no restrictions. The most important is virtual machines. You can create virtual machines. You can scale up, scale down as per your requirement. Now, the second most important is reduced and controlled capital expenditure. Because in cloud, you can store, you can save your cost of your infrastructure. This is the best thing. So in brief, I'm saying you can save cost of your running infrastructure. You have not to purchase anything in advance. So think about, your old and traditional way to run IT services. You do require the servers, storages, routers, switches, cables, database servers, and many more to run your data center. And overall cost of infrastructure was really too high. And to cut down the cost of that existing physical infrastructure, so cloud provides an excellent opportunity. So you have alternate available with you, cloud, right? Because on cloud, you have not to purchase any storage, you have not to purchase any routers, switches, cables, and other things to just manage your data center, because all these data centers are created and managed by cloud providers, right? You people are just using these services from remote, from the internet. You can now choose AWS services which simply based on pay as you go pricing model, and you just enjoy the service model, right? You have not to set up any physical data center. Instead of a heavy investment on hardware and software, cloud computing provides resources on cloud, and you can configure them as per your need to deliver to your end user. This is a great thing. Okay, so the investment cost you saved. So you have not to invest to build a big data center. You are just using this platform and creating your resources, and you will pay for the resources. Okay. Second is software upgrade. If you have little experience about servers in the production environment, you might have seen that time to time you update these servers from online repository of the vendor. Let's say you have thousands of servers, but time to time you always update them to fix vulnerabilities. Now AWS is now offer patch management capability. Okay, and which is a part of system manager service. So we have a system manager service in AWS, and with the help of system manager, you can apply patching process on existing servers running in AWS. So with patch management capability, you can automate your patching process. So this feature serves you time, means saves your time and reduces the risk of non-compliance. So see, understand this way. Let's say you have a laptop in your home and you are using the laptop. You might have seen that in every weekend or in every fortnight or after some interval, you generally face to update that particular laptop automatically. So I mean, it always says you need to start this laptop to update, some fixes are there. So what are those fixes? Actually, time to time, supplier of software like Microsoft or Red Hat or Mac or Ubuntu. So these providers basically find some vulnerabilities in their operating system. And to fix those vulnerabilities, they usually write some small programs. And they want you to run these programs in your computers. So they provide these small programs, very, very small programs. So these programs are known as patches, right? So which can be a cause of security threat. And to fix them, the software updates are essential, which is available in AWS free of cost. So earlier it was not available free of cost, because earlier in your physical data center, you used to set up the update servers, and you will paying extra cost for those servers. But this facility in AWS is totally free of cost. With the help of system manager, the system manager is service, you can update your servers without any extra cost. This is the advantage. So you can count this thing is an advantage. Second is stop guessing capacity. What is the meaning of the stop guessing capacity? Let's say right now you start your project with one server. But very soon you feel that the one server is not sufficient and you need few more server in order to deliver your service to your clients. So when you decide to run application over the cloud, you design an infrastructure as per the requirement. And at the time of designing, you either end up sitting on expensive resources or dealing with limited capacity. But if you are working on cloud computing, you don't see the challenge, because cloud computing allows you to tune the infrastructure as per the requirement. It means if you need more number of machines, you can easily create more number of machines effortlessly. And if you want to reduce number of machines, because you don't need any more those machines, so you can terminate those machines automatically. Means you can fix auto scaling over there. So there is a one service in AWS called auto scaling. With the help of that auto scaling always work with the conditions. So if you apply conditions, on the basis of condition, your machines can increase or decrease effortlessly. So you have not to guess any capacity for number of machines ultimately you need to run your project. So you can define minimum and maximum capacity of resources, which can scale up or scale down in a few minutes. Are you getting me, guys?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Now, see, data accessibility. Data accessibility, it is pertaining to your data which is stored in storages. We have a different kind of a storages in cloud computing. We have block storage, we have NAS storage, and we have object storage. Block storage, object storage, NAS storage. And all these storages have different purposes. I will tell you what is the purpose of block storage, what is the purpose of object storage. I will explain you with example. we have a services. Right now, I'm just talking about advantages of cloud computing, because even in interview, people can ask, what is the advantage of cloud computing? So you must have some idea what actually this guy is asking and what precise answers to be given. So actually, data accessibility over the cloud is easy. It's a cheaper and highly available for business teams. As I told you, because your data is stored on a multiple places. Your data can also be stored in databases, database servers, right? Your data can be stored in object storages. And what is the incredible thing? You can't believe, if you access object storage or you access the NAS storage, so you can store almost unlimited data. Means because in your servers, when you access your servers in a physical environment, so every server has a limitation. You might have a 10 TB hard disk, 5 TB hard disk, 6 TB hard disk, right? Or maybe you can connect multiple hard disks to increase capacity. But in object storage in AWS, you have no such limitation. No such limitation. If you see documentation of AWS S3, you will find that there is no such limitation to store data. You can go up to any extent. Okay, we will talk about later. Data accessibility is easy, cheaper, and highly available for the business teams. Now, the most important part is security. People always think about security, right? So people always think about security. They are worried about security. What will happen if you create your machine, if you store your data over the cloud? Can it be hacked, or is it secure or not? So I tell you, you must have a proper knowledge of the platform. If you have a proper knowledge of the platform, your data is 100% secure. Because even in AWS, we have a list of services to secure your machine, to secure your communication, and to secure your data, right? You can access your data store over cloud using internet connection from anywhere. Number one. Number two, cloud computing security feature is on high priority for cloud computing providers, and this includes protection of critical information from data leakage, deletion, and theft. Right now, I'm not talking about those services. I will talk about those services later on. So which service you can use for which purpose? We have multiple firewalls here. We have network access control list, security group, web application firewall, guard duty, inspector, right? Shield. So these are some services I'm telling you. You can use these services to secure your environment, and features like data encryption are also available. You can also apply encryption on the cloud. You can apply encryption on rest or during data transfer, both. So means it's up to you what kind of a security you want to apply, but everything is available. You have not to worry about. And one thing I want to tell you, according to my experience, I feel this platform is more secure as compared to your physical private data center, because here you have not to manage these services. You have not to manage data centers. You have to only manage your infrastructure, right? So that's why you will concentrate on one side. You will not concentrate to maintain, you will not waste your energy to maintain your data center, right? Next is disaster recovery. Yeah, this word I'm listening again and again these days. Disaster recovery. So cloud disaster recovery basically is a method or strategy to take backup of cloud resources. Means with the help of disaster recovery, you can take backups and if it is needed, you can restore anytime, including the data, and later on you can recover your data. So this provides the data recovery and backup strategy, which has happened due to man-made or natural catastrophe. Because if you are talking about disaster, so disaster can be natural or it can be man-made. But ultimately, you have to be prepared for this kind of a condition. So you must. So we have an option to replicate our infrastructure. We have an option to replicate our data from one region to another region. What is the region? Let's say Mumbai is a region. Okay. And you stored your data in Mumbai. But you feel that the Mumbai can be unavailable because of any natural disaster. So what you can do, you can in advance, you can copy your data in a North Virginia or Ohio, somewhere in a very remote place, which is very far, and definitely all regions are isolated and different. So if one region is unavailable, the similar data or infrastructure is available in different location. But definitely you will pay for that resources, but still your data, your infrastructure, your entire the work environment is secure. So that can be easily be implemented. Okay, we'll talk about later. Next is competitiveness. Yeah, since this cloud basically came in picture, the people or the kind of a people who has no access over their physical data center, even though they can start businesses with the least investment. So when you run business, what is the important for you? When you run a business, so product of business is an ultimate goal. Let's say you are a pharmaceutical company, just understand, right? So what is important for you? I just tell you two things. One is to manufacture good quality medicine, or to maintain infrastructure of your IT. So I think you will answer the medicines are more important for that company, because the core business of this company is to manufacture good quality medicines. So the business houses needs to put all their effort to maintain quality and production numbers of the product. And what AWS says? AWS says just focus on your product, right? Or just focus on your project, and do not put heavy efforts to maintain IT infrastructure, because IT infrastructure is maintained by AWS. So you will not consume your energy on another side. You have to focus on your project only. And on cloud, you do not require heavy lifting of racks. You do not require heavy lifting of servers and other resources to run infrastructure. So infrastructure, software, and platforms are just few clicks away on cloud. And it is easy to use for everyone. And you will have better experience and low latency resources. So in brief, cloud computing allows even smaller businesses to act faster than big and established competitors. Anybody can start business now, even if you have a less resources, because you have not to create any physical data center. If you have a limited budget, even though you can start your business on cloud computing. Am I correct or not? So these are some major things I just took here. So these are the benefits, right? Now, guys, I will talk about few things. Let's say AWS global infrastructure. Where is AWS global infrastructure? You just give me 1 minute. I'm creating a new page for you. So I'm putting today's date. Today is 22nd December. Right. Here we go. Just give me 1 minute. I'm just starting all these things. Okay, guys. Here we go. If I want, I can change or I can make some changes. Okay. This is here we go. This is 2. This is 3. Okay. So last time we were talking about the launch of a machine that we saw. So if you want, I will explain it again. But right now, I'm just going to talk about AWS global infrastructure. And you can't believe I created this page last month, right? And
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
We lost audio.
Okay, so everyone is able to hear.
Yeah, we are able to hear, but
Okay. You just wait.
hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
yes,
Right. I'm sorry. I think there was some fluctuation. Yeah, I was talking about, that the global infrastructure. So global infrastructure is built to deliver AWS cloud services with highest quality and performance. And what I was saying, so last month this diagram was copy and pasted. This diagram was copy and pasted, and you can't believe this has been changed. It is rigorously changing. It's so dynamic. And if you see here, AWS global infrastructure. So this is my AWS global infrastructure. This is the page. So what I do, I just copy this. I just copy this link here. You see this link, right? You see this link. Okay. This is the global infrastructure. So right now, if you see this global infrastructure, we have a 30 launch regions. And the last year we had only 87 availability zone. And this year we have 96 availability zone. And we have more than 400 edge locations. I'll tell you what is region and availability zone. And this is the diagram. This is your world map. And I was showing this map. So this map I'm just removing. I don't need this map now. This map has been changed. So I'm just going here and I will explain. I'm just going to explain this. This is what we have. Is it better? I will share all these things with you, right? This will be good for you. Yeah. See, in this, do you see the two type of dots? Few dots are green and few dots are red. So actually, the red dots are not operational. So AWS is basically going to announce some new regions in these red dots. And even in India, the last year, even few days back, we had only one region here, Mumbai. Now we have two regions. One is Mumbai and another is Hyderabad. Can you see? We have two regions. One is Mumbai and another is Hyderabad.
Yes.
Right. So so they increased. So earlier we had only one. Now this is South Asia, in which we have two regions, and we have in Thailand, we have in Singapore, we have in Jakarta, and we have in Australia. So I think in Melbourne it is not activated. So few red color, and they are just going to open one in New Zealand, Auckland. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 new regions are going to come. You have maximum number of regions in United States. You have 7 regions here, 6 regions here. And what is a region? I tell you, region is a separate geographical location. Just understand, here we go. If you see this diagram, let me tell you, this is a diagram, will tell you more precisely. Just talk about region. Region is a separate geographical location, like Mumbai, like London, like North Virginia, Ohio. These are regions. These are separate, right? And within this region, you can have multiple availability zone. Availability zone is what? Availability zone is a group of data centers. Simply, it's a logical group of data centers. Let's say this is the Mumbai region, and within the Mumbai, you have multiple data centers. So this particular region is spanned around 100 kilometers. Within the 100 kilometer of Mumbai, this particular region is spread out, right? So so we have multiple availability zones. So we divide this region into multiple availability zone, and every availability zone is a group of data center, and every availability zone has its own code. Region has a code, availability has a code. So Amazon Web Services are available in multiple locations worldwide, and these locations are composed of region and availability zone. Every region is an independent and separate geographic location. Just remember, and every region is linked with at least 2 isolated locations. So these locations are known as availability zone, and every availability zone has a group of data center. Using AWS Cloud, you create your instances in these data centers. Instance means your virtual machine. So when you start using AWS account to create any virtual machine, which is known as EC2 instance, so you first select a region. Very first you select a region, and then you select a availability zone when you launch your instance, when you launch your virtual machines. So you might have noticed in the last class when I just launched EC2 instance. So by the way, we have number of things that we will discuss one by one. And if you go down, this diagram is elaborated in a just different way to understand more precisely. Let's say this is a Mumbai region. This one is a Mumbai region, right? And this is the code of the Mumbai region, AP South 1, right? And within the region, you have multiple availability zones. Can you see AZ1, AZ2, AZ3? And every availability zone has its own code. And this is very, very similar to this one. So what is the Mumbai region code? It's the AP South 1. And what is the availability zone? So if you see, this is the AP South 1A. Only A is added here. This is a AP South 1A. Second is AP South 1B, and third is AP South 1C. So these are availability zones. Sorry. Next is within the availability zones. I told you have multiple data centers. Let's say these 3 data centers are the part of this availability zone. Similarly, these 3 data centers are the part of this availability zone. Similarly, these data centers are the part of these availability zones. So all these data centers, what are the data centers? Data centers are containing racks, data centers are containing storage, data centers are containing servers, means these are physical data centers, right? And all these data centers are connected with each other, because let's say this is one data center. So how this data center is connected with another data center? So this is connected through this red box. What is this red box? This red box is a basically edge location. We call it as a edge location. So all these data centers, or if you want to connect one availability zone to another availability zone, if you need to connect one region to another region, you always have this edge location. What is the edge location? Edge location is a kind of a mini data center which provides connectivity between data centers, right? And these edge locations are available in almost in every major city. The edge location is where end user access services located at AWS. Edge locations are located in most of the major cities around the world, and they are specially used for CDN service. What is a CDN service? Content Delivery Network. If you have little idea about this, means edge locations are also used to distribute your application content over AWS global infrastructure to reduce latency. We will talk about later in detail. But edge location is for CDN service also to reduce latency. It is like front end for service we access which are located in AWS cloud. So this concept can be taken in another way. For example, edge location can assumed to be a collection of physical server. What you are containing an edge location? Edge location mein kya hai? For example, what is there in edge location? So edge locations are containing servers. Edge locations are containing routers. Edge locations are containing caching devices, and edge locations are containing network to distribute content over the AWS global infrastructure. And the major thing is edge locations are being used to provide connectivity between data centers. If edge locations are not there, you cannot connect data centers, right? So these are very, very important. So edge locations can be assumed to be a collection of physical servers within the data set. So these are the small data centers or mini data centers. Is it clear, everyone? So we have three things here, four things here. Region. Within the region, we have availability zones. Within the availability zones, you have data centers, and all these data centers are connected through the edge locations. This is what AWS infrastructure is there. I just tried to explain this infrastructure in a very easy way. Anybody? Any question, please?
No, sir.
Okay. One more thing that I would like to just explain, because AWS is regularly, creating a new infrastructure components in AWS infrastructure, global infrastructure. So availability zone is okay. I just knew about availability zone. What is availability zone? Availability zone is a group of data center. But we have another type of zone called local zone. This also is a kind of a data center created by AWS, but where you will find this zone. Actually, AWS identified some vital locations like India. If you're talking about India, let's say I'm just giving a very simple example about India. So in India, Delhi is a one location where large number of people are living. It is a huge populated city. You can have some companies even in this NCR region. You have Pune, you have Bangalore, Mumbai, Hyderabad. These are some cities where you can find industry and even large population. means AWS can find the clientele in these cities. So they created local zones in these cities or near to these cities, near to these cities. Just a minute. So, guys, these local zones are created near to large population, near to IT hubs, or near to industrial hubs. They are identified throughout the world, right? So, let's say I'm giving an example here. In America, there is one city, North Virginia. We have another city, Chicago. We have Dallas, Philadelphia. So we have some cities. These are some heavy populated city, and in these cities, America has a number of companies and some industries as well. So they means AWS created local zones in these cities. Why? What is the purpose of creating local zone? Because these companies can now use these local zones to create their infrastructure, and this infrastructure will be very near to companies. This way they will get our least latency, right? The latency will be very, very low. So there should not be any problem of the latency. I tell you, for example, where I was, just a minute. Yes, I was here. I was here. See, this is my account, right? So you go to EC2, for example. So right now I'm in North Virginia, right? I'm in North Virginia. Can you see these are the zones under the account attributes? I'm in an EC2 service, right? And do you see, I'm just showing you where you can find all these zones. So we have zones here. You click on zones, and these are local zone first of all. So by the way, by default, these zones are disabled to use, because definitely you have to pay extra cost for using these local zones. If you can enable, you can manage and enable these, but you will pay additional cost for this. But if I'm talking about North Virginia, so Atlanta is a one city, Boston is a one city in US East, right? Then we have local zone. This is North Virginia, and this is in Argentina, Buenos Aires, US East Chicago, US East Dallas, US East Houston, Kansas, Miami. So this way, New York, Philadelphia. So these are some local zones, right? So you have to find which local zone is nearest to your company or your office location. You can choose that particular location or zone to create infrastructure in AWS. Definitely you will pay a little more, but you will have very less latency to access, and you will feel that you are working with your own data center. So this is a kind of experience you will have. And second, you have wavelength zone also. What is a wavelength zone? So can you see? So we have a wavelength zone also, and these are the availability zone. You have maximum number of availability zones in North Virginia. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 availability zones. So this was an example of North Virginia. Let me show you. Let's say if you go to let's say Mumbai. Okay, you go to Mumbai. You go to Mumbai. In Mumbai, this is a local zone. So earlier, few days back, Kolkata was not there. So now you have one Kolkata. Secondly, you have India, sorry, Delhi. So you have two local zone under the Mumbai region. So you have local zone in Kolkata and in Delhi, because Kolkata is in east and Delhi also is in almost in west. So both are very populated city. So we have two local zones and we have 3 availability zones in Mumbai. Can you see? Right now we don't have any wavelength zone. So I don't see here Hyderabad. Let me show you. Do you see Hyderabad? Hyderabad is not showing here. It is there actually. Hyderabad is there. There are 9 regions that are not enabled for this account. Can you see the Hyderabad? Because we are using free tier account. We are not using actually enterprise account. This Hyderabad is there. I can see very clearly Hyderabad is there, AP South 2. But this Hyderabad is not enabled for my account. Is it clear, everyone? So this is what we have. So you can go and see few things. That is great. That will definitely will give some experience. So you have number of regions. All these are the regions. Even some Chinese regions you cannot access. So even you cannot see those Chinese regions. So you have a manage regions here. You will click on manage regions. See, this is a page will open to see manage regions. So like some regions are disabled, like Hong Kong, Hyderabad, Jakarta. Action is you can enable them, right? And we have some enabled by default. All these are the enabled by default. It means if you want to enable Hyderabad, you have to simply click on enable. This will be enabled for you. I don't see any Chinese region here. Do you see? So Chinese regions are totally different and they are not the part of AWS global infrastructure. Those Chinese regions are isolated, of course. Okay. So by the way, we are just going back. We are going back. Now, I would like to actually tell you about AWS console. So this was my, yeah, I was talking about wavelength zone. What is a wavelength zone? So local zone is clear. The local zone is basically to create your infrastructure near to your workplace. And it is available in all major cities. Second is wavelength zone. And wavelength zone is created for 5G technology. You know what is a 5G technology? So right now we are working on a 4G technology. 5G is almost basically announced in almost some European countries. I think in America also it has been announced, but it is not yet full-fledged is in a working state. So high computing. So if you choose a wavelength zone is for 5G technology to write your application to perform with highest performance or high computing and central application environment near to AWS region without leaving telecom network. It means these wavelength zones are specially designed for 5G technology. You can launch your web applications and these applications will provide you very high performance. And the great opportunity is this: if you are using these wavelength zone for your application and compute resources, so you can work seamlessly without leaving telecom network. So these are the special kind of zones called wavelength zones. So second is this is data center hybrid cloud. You know, we have generally we have a 2 type of clouds. One is a public cloud and a hybrid cloud. Third also is a private cloud. Public cloud, private cloud, and a hybrid cloud. So your data center is a private cloud, isn't it? And AWS cloud is a public cloud. And if you want to connect your data center with AWS cloud, there is a service available in AWS, and this service name is Direct Connect. and it allows you to connect AWS public cloud with your data center through fiber connection, fiber optic connection, right? Not you will not use internet connectivity here. These are the special kind of connectivity. So you have to purchase it just like an ISP connection or a lease line connection. So AWS provides you a kind of a lease line fiber connectivity at your data center, and you will have one. This is red color. This is a gateway of direct connect that you will launch in your data center. So this is a fiber connectivity through the data center, through this direct connect, and you are going to connect with this AWS cloud. So means you are connecting data centers with AWS cloud with the help of AWS direct connect, and this way you are making your cloud hybrid, right? So we have a number of fiber connections. If you see, we have a number of direct connects here. Let me show you. Yeah, here. Can you see 150 direct connect location throughout the world we have. So we have, these are the locations, and through these locations you can have direct connect to connect your data center with AWS. So, but where exactly those locations are, for that you have to connect AWS. Those things are not given here. Okay, but the purpose, I just explained what is the purpose of this data center. So guys, what I'm doing, I'm not right now explaining much. I think this is sufficient for the day. And I was talking about AWS global infrastructure, and this is your some diagram. Through this diagram, I think you understood how actually this global infrastructure is connected. And we have few things like local zone and wavelength zone and the direct connect. So in my next class, I will start with virtualization. Very important. What is a virtualization and what is a containerization? So let me show you. So virtualization and containerization. So we will start with the virtualization, containerization, and data center virtualization. Data center virtualization. So we will start with these two topics here. And once these two topics are completed, then we will start with the first AWS service, EC2. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. Then we will start the first EC2 service, AWS service. This is the service. So we'll go step by step. And so today is 22nd, then networking evening, weekdays, 22nd December, right? I think this is clear.
Yes.
I did right. This is good. So today was the first day. And one more thing, I will share the link. So when your next class?
Tomorrow?
Today, Monday, right? Today is, yes, today is Thursday. So Monday would be the next class, and then we will take at least 3 classes in a week, at least. And if you are interested, we can take even the classes daily. I have no issue, right?
Okay.
Any question, guys?
How many classes run in a week?
At least 3 classes we will take. So if you are happy, we can take a 4 class as well in a week.
From Monday to Thursday.
Thursday or Friday. We will manage it.
So tomorrow will not going to take the class?
No, tomorrow. So for this week, tomorrow is no class. But from the next week, definitely the Friday we will have a class.
Okay, no problem.
I'm just having a doubt. Can I just ask?
Yeah.
I just need to know the exact differentiate between the local zone and the wavelength zone. As you have taught us that
I
local
told you,
zones.
see, just a minute. Hmm. What's your good name?
Shubham.
Shubham. Okay, Shubham, see, I told you local zones are created near to large population or near to industrial area to create your data center in AWS. So then this data center is a generic data center. Means you will have virtual machines, you will have storages, you will have network, everything. But wavelength zone is only for 5G technology. What is the 5G technology? What is the 4G technology and what is the 5G mobile
four-
technology? I'm talking about mobile
Yes.
technology. So if you want to launch any mobile application for 5G, and specifically you need a infrastructure, you need a specific zone. In that case, wavelength zone is a better option because wavelength zone is providing very high performance of your compute resources. Right now we don't have any wavelength zone in India. So they created some wavelength zones in United States. Even we don't have even in Europe. So you can see large number of wavelength zones are in US only, right? And this is not a good idea to launch your applications in a United States wavelength zone because you will find latency because of the distance, because America is quite far from India. So you must have a wavelength zone even near to you. So wavelength zones are only for 5G technology to launch, mobile applications to perform with very high speed. But local zones are used to create your infrastructure of your company, like network, servers, and all near to your workplace. Are you getting me?
Yes, exactly.
Good.
So far the wavelength zones are not been created at many regions.
Yes, those are not. I think they are now because it's not very easy. Just understand that because if you create a zone, so that takes a lot of time because you have to create a lot of data center. One region contains multiple availability zone. One availability zones have multiple data center, and you have to put a lot of energy, investment, and other things to create a data center. So that takes time, and the same thing you do in a wavelength zone as well. So as of now, in India, there is no wavelength zone, but very soon, when the technology will come, because the technology of the 5G is not matured in India as of now, right? But very soon you will see new wavelength zones in India.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay. So guys, we are closing the session for the day, and Monday we will meet again. Thanks everyone. Good night.
Thank you
Good
so
night.
much, sir. Good night.
Good night. Good night, dear.